For 10 years, I believed I had the perfect marriage. My wife, Emily, and I had built a life together that others envied. We had a beautiful home, stable careers, and a connection that seemed unbreakable. At least, that's what I thought. Looking back, the warning signs had always been there, but I had been too blinded by love to see them. The late nights at the office, the sudden interest in going to the gym, the secretive texts, all of it should have raised red flags. But I was the kind of husband who trusted his wife completely. Then, everything changed the day I stumbled upon a hidden email account. Emily had left her laptop open, something she never did. She was always cautious about her devices, setting up passwords, and ensuring her phone was locked when I was around. But this time, maybe out of sheer carelessness, she had left a tab open. It was a private email address I had never seen before. My curiosity got the best of me, and before I knew it, I was scrolling through emails that made my stomach churn. There were messages from someone named Nathan. Asterisk, I can't wait to see you again. The way you sneak away from your husband makes it even more exciting. Asterisk, last night was unforgettable. I wish you could spend the whole night with me instead of going back to him. Asterisk, I felt my blood turn ice cold. My hands trembled as I clicked through more messages. Photos. Hotel receipts. Even plans for a secret weekend getaway that was coming up soon. Emily, my wife, was having an affair. And not just any affair. It was calculated, planned, and filled with deception. My chest tightened, and I struggled to breathe as realization hit me like a freight train. This wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment mistake. This was a full-blown betrayal. I clenched my fists, my body trembling with a mixture of rage and heartbreak. I wanted to scream. I wanted to confront her right then and there, demand answers, make her suffer the way she had just made me suffer. But as I sat there, staring at the damning evidence, a cold clarity settled over me. If she thought her secret was safe, she was dead wrong. I wouldn't just expose her. I would make sure she regretted every single lie, every stolen moment with her lover, and every ounce of trust she had shattered. But first, I needed to be smart. I needed to gather everything. And most of all, I needed to plan my revenge. I didn't confront her right away. Every fiber of my being screamed at me to demand answers, to throw her betrayal in her face, to make her feel just a fraction of the agony I was going through. But I knew better. If Emily could lie to me so effortlessly, if she could sneak around behind my back and pretend like everything was normal, then she was a skilled liar. And skilled liars always tried to manipulate their way out of consequences. So I played along. For the next few days, I acted like nothing had changed. I kissed her goodbye in the mornings, asked about her day, even pretended to be interested in the stories she told me, stories I now knew were all lies. It took everything in me not to explode when she smiled at me like she hadn't just stabbed me in the back. At the same time, I started gathering evidence. I forwarded all of her emails to myself and saved them to a USB drive. I took screenshots of text messages she had exchanged with Nathan, even the ones where she gushed about how exciting it was to sneak away from her clueless husband. But that wasn't enough. I needed undeniable proof. Proof that she couldn't explain away with some pathetic excuse or empty apology. So, I hired a private investigator. The guy came highly recommended, an older man with years of experience catching cheaters. When I handed over all the information I had gathered, he gave me a knowing look, like he had seen this situation 1,000 times before. She's sloppy, he told me. This won't take long. And he was right. It only took a few days for him to send me photos. Photos of Emily meeting Nathan at a fancy restaurant across town. Photos of them walking into a hotel together. Photos of them tangled up in each other's arms, completely oblivious to the fact that they were being watched. I stared at those images for what felt like hours, each one like a dagger twisting deeper into my chest. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't just a mistake. It was deliberate. Emily had been living a double life, and she had been so sure that I would never find out. But she had underestimated me. The real test came when she told me she had a work trip coming up that weekend. She sat across from me at the dinner table, swirling a glass of wine in her hand, looking so damn casual. "I'll be gone Friday through Sunday," she said. "It's a corporate retreat. You know how these things are, boring meetings, forced team-building activities. I'll call you when I can." I forced a smile. "Of course. Hope it's not too dull." She had no idea that I already knew exactly where she was going. Nathan had booked them a weekend at an upscale resort, something romantic, something intimate. It was all in the emails I had seen. She thought she was getting away with it. I let her think that, because that was the weekend I was going to destroy her. The weekend arrived, and Emily left early Friday morning, suitcase in hand, pressing a quick kiss to my cheek as she walked out the door. "I'll miss you," she said with a smile. A smile that for years I had believed was real. I watched her drive away, gripping my coffee mug so tightly that my knuckles turned white. But I didn't let myself drown in anger. Not yet. I had work to do. As soon as she was gone, I packed my own bag, not for a weekend of moping, but for war. The private investigator had done more than just take photos. He had secured a full itinerary of Emily and Nathan's little getaway. They were staying at a luxury resort about 2 hours away, in a private suite with oceanfront views. Romantic, secluded, and the perfect place for an affair. I left later that afternoon, taking my time. I wasn't going to barge in recklessly. No, I had something much more satisfying planned. When I arrived at the resort, I checked into a separate room and reached out to a contact I had made over the last few days, a divorce attorney. Not just any attorney, but one of the most ruthless in the business. I had already begun preparing the legal paperwork, and all I needed now was one final piece of the puzzle. By late evening, I was ready. Emily and Nathan were in their suite, completely unaware that I was less than 100 feet away. The private investigator had set up a camera outside their balcony and managed to capture the incriminating footage I needed. Them kissing. Them drinking champagne in robes. Them acting like they were in a perfect, untouchable little bubble. But that bubble was about to pop. The next morning, I set my plan into motion. I had used Emily's email to schedule a surprise couples massage for her and Nathan, knowing they wouldn't question it. Once they were occupied, I took a trip to the front desk and spoke to the manager. "My wife and I are celebrating something special," I said, sliding a generous tip across the counter. "Would you mind setting up a little announcement in the dining hall this evening?" The manager, more than happy to oblige, agreed. That evening, as Emily and Nathan sat at a candlelit table in the resort's main dining hall, sipping wine and laughing, the manager's voice rang through the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special announcement tonight. A celebration of love and commitment. Let's all raise a glass for Emily and Nathan, who have decided to take this weekend to strengthen their special bond." Applause filled the room. Emily's face drained of color. Nathan looked confused. Then, the real show began. The massive screen at the front of the room flickered on, playing a slideshow of all the photos my investigator had taken. Emily sneaking into a hotel with Nathan. Their intimate dinner. Them wrapped up in each other's arms. Gasps filled the room. Whispers erupted. Emily shot up from her chair, knocking over her wine glass. "Turn that off," she shrieked. Nathan just sat there, frozen, his face a mask of sheer horror. I stood at the back of the room, arms crossed, watching the chaos unfold. I had given her every opportunity to be faithful, to be honest. She had chosen lies instead. So, I had chosen revenge. And this was just the beginning. Emily bolted from the dining hall, her face red with humiliation, but there was nowhere for her to hide. The whispers followed her. The judgmental stares burned into her skin. Nathan, on the other hand, remained frozen at the table, his jaw clenched as he realized that his secret affair had been exposed in the worst possible way. I took my time walking toward her, savoring every second. She was standing near the lobby, frantically tapping on her phone, probably trying to call me, to spin some pathetic excuse. I cleared my throat. She whirled around, eyes wide, guilt written all over her face. I can explain," she stammered. I tilted my head, pretending to consider it. "Oh, you can explain lying to me for months? You can explain sneaking around with him?" I gestured toward Nathan, who who had finally come out of his stunned state and was now approaching us cautiously. You can explain the emails, the hotel stays, the fact that you thought you were so damn clever? Emily swallowed hard. I didn't mean for it to happen. I laughed, shaking my head. Oh, you meant for it to happen, Emily. Every time you lied, every time you made a plan to see him, every time you pretended to be a loving wife while sneaking around like a teenager. You meant for it to happen. She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. Please, just listen. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can... I held up a finger, silencing her. Oh, there's no we anymore. You see, while you were out here playing house with Nathan, I was making my own plans. I pulled an envelope from my pocket and tossed it onto the counter between us. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. What is this? Divorce papers, I said, enjoying the way her face crumpled. And don't worry, I made sure you walk away with exactly what you deserve. I leaned in slightly. Nothing. Emily gasped, flipping through the papers. No, you can't do this. The house. Already transferred to my name. I cut in. Your little affair made the case for infidelity easy. The prenup? Ironclad. I smirked. And as for your reputation? Well, I think tonight speaks for itself. Nathan shifted uncomfortably. Dude, maybe you should just take a breath. This is getting out of hand. I turned to him, my smirk widening. Oh, don't worry, Nathan. I didn't forget about you. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small USB drive. You might want to start job hunting. You see, your company has a strict no fraternization policy, and let's just say that the board won't be happy to see how closely you've been working with a married woman. Nathan's face paled. You wouldn't. I shrugged. Already sent. Emily's eyes filled with tears. Please, we can talk about this. No, we can't, I said, stepping back. You made your choice, Emily. Now you get to live with it. With that, I turned on my heel and walked away, leaving her standing there, broken and exposed. As I stepped out of the resort and into the cool night air, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Relief. She thought her secret was safe. She thought I would never find out. But in the end, I wasn't the fool she had mistaken me for. And now, she was the one left with nothing but regret.